just for the rest of the year and next year's tax season, this is a great time to do so with these discounts. So
Yes. And also, as a reminder, the small business advisors also speak Spanish, right? In
yes,
case
Erin.
anybody has those needs. Ah, awesome. And then, so this is cool. It looks like from time to time you guys have different promotions and deals. Is that something you guys do, or what goes behind all these different strategies of get the promotions? Is it just to get the tools to the people that are in need?
Yeah, it's just depending on, what we think is going on in businesses. And so we just kind of knew a lot of people. So this is our industry specific. So this is for people in accounting and tax who we know are probably in that last push since the deadline is July 15th. There's probably a lot of procrastinators out there who are trying to get their taxes done in the next month. And we want to make
Mhm.
sure that you're able to take on all of the business that you can with technology that's not going to slow you down. If it's running quickly and efficiently, then you can take on more clients and more business, and therefore, bring in more revenue and for your business. And so that is something that we always keep in mind is this is our industry specific offer. Just thinking through, what your members are going through during this time.
Yes, yes, indeed. And that's a good point because a lot of people may have employees or staff members who are working remotely or who are not at the office, and they need the tools and the technology to kind of keep serving clients, especially as there's going to be a rush of clients here coming pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So just kind of wanted to make sure members were aware of that. But then I just kind of wanted to talk about we have a couple different resources out there that I wanted to share with members. I just pulled them from our site and put them into this PowerPoint of just tips for working remotely. I know in our past conversations, we have been discussing what you need for a work from home setup, different options you have to make sure your office setup is just as efficient and productive as your at-home setup. But what do you do once you have those systems? How can you, even though you're not in the office, I think sometimes working from home can be a little bit more lax and chill, and we want to make sure we're still getting all of our work done. So what are some tips that Dell has found will help with that? So I have two different resources I wanted to go through with those. So this first one is just very simple, but I think something that people might know, but you just need to be reminded of sometimes that we are implementing these things. So learn your own working style. I think everyone works differently, and that's okay. And it might be a little bit different than what you do in the office, but just kind of make sure you're paying attention to what your working style is and honoring that and keeping to that. I think having a dedicated workspace, having a consistent spot that will help you stay focused instead of maybe working from your bed or just kind of moving around
Yeah.
all the time, but having a dedicated workspace where this is where you sit and are productive and you can have more focus and energy, and then that way you have your separate space for relaxing. I think this helps with not constantly feeling like you're working, but you can kind of compartmentalize those two things.
Yeah, I know like a big thing when I was working from home back in March and April, it was, we're wired that my home is where I go and relax and I watch
Mm-hmm.
TV, I go eat, I just don't really think about work. And then when I come to the office, it's like, oh, 100%, like let's get work done. But now to combine both, and then what I did, I set up my workstation, my computer, and my dining table. But then I would have to avoid getting distracted. It's like, oh, I forgot to wash that plate, or let me go get a quick snack. And it's just, yeah, it's a challenge, but it could be done. So.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. Next would be interacting with people face to face. And so we're still social distancing, but this is more of including video in your calls instead of always doing it over the phone. I think just being able to see someone's face and their reactions and their facial expressions is huge in just feeling less isolated and like you're talking through technology. It's not going to be the same as being in person, but it does help with working remotely and just feeling more connected with your coworkers.
Yeah, and then even with your partners, like we haven't met in person, but I feel like we've gotten to know each other. We've done campaigns together just because of the cameras are on, right? If they were off, I'd be like, I wonder who that is, or
Yeah.
you're right. The facial expression is like if you're feeling sad or happy or excited. And I use my hands a lot, so yeah.
Yes, that's important to be able to read people's facial expressions and hand movements, and even just in listening. A head nod, you can tell that they're actively listening and not just multitasking and doing something else where you might assume that when on a call. So that will help. When you're on a web meeting, avoiding other internet activities. Just the example here is when you're downloading large files, it just drains the bandwidth that you have. So making sure that you're attentive to what you're doing and not overdoing yourself with trying to multitask too much. Next, take breaks. It's important to take breaks and go on a walk, clear your head, whatever refreshes you, gives you energy. Make sure you're intentional about doing those. Shutting off when you're finished. A big thing that I have seen is when you're working from home, it turns into working more as well because you are sitting on the couch watching TV at 8 p.m. but still checking emails, or you wake up and immediately open up your laptop and start working. And I think a big thing is still having your work hours. Waking up and having breakfast before you starting work just helps you clear your mind in the morning and get ready for a productive day, and turning your computer off to help you shut off your work brain, but so you can truly enjoy and relax your evening. I think this makes you more efficient and productive during the day. I've noticed days that I work really late into the evening. The next day I'm very sluggish and tired, and I get the same amount of work done in a 12-hour day as I could have in an 8-hour day, just because I'm tired and exhausted from not mentally resting.
That's a good point. What about the weekends, Amy? How do you, is it the same concept? Like on the weekend, try not to work and just unplug. And sometimes I'll just like turn off my phone and for like the whole day. And then the next day I'm like, kinds of missed calls. But you got to just unplug.
Exactly. And I think it will vary a little bit per role and per job that you have, but making sure you find that time to unplug, like you said. Don't just continue working through the weekend if you don't have to. If it's something that can be answered Monday morning, leave it for Monday morning and get that done then. It's important to have your weekends to refresh and to have your evenings. And then the last on this one is making sure that you have security. It's important that even though we're at home, you still have a secure Wi-Fi network so that people aren't hacking your data. So if you have more questions, we do offer a lot of different antivirus or things like that we can help you with that, but just make sure that you are protecting your information.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that that's probably a big issue now where a lot of companies, I mean, you have your big companies who give their employees their company laptops and security features, but a lot of mid-sized, smaller companies are saying, especially our members, the tax office is saying like, just what do you have? I have a laptop at home. All right, cool. Here are the client tax returns. Go ahead and do them. And you don't know these employees what kind of laptops they have, what kind of technology, what kind of computers, what kind of security. And you just assume, especially during a crisis, like, I don't know, here, take it home. Then I guess we can't be at the office, but it needs to get done by Monday. And these guys are plugging in sensitive data into maybe outdated technology or technology that doesn't have a lot of security. And so I wonder, I haven't seen any, I haven't researched, but I'm gonna research some security reports. But I'm sure there's been like an uptick in like security issues because of that, because of people just going home and just working on their stuff. And they're doing the best they can, but that is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. And before this pandemic, these are the stats that I saw, and I can't remember the exact number, but small businesses who are hacked, I want to say 75% of them will shut down within 2 years after a security breach. And so isn't the most expensive investment, but it is still an investment of sort. But it is so important to make sure you have security, because otherwise, if you do get hacked, your business could shut down, because it's just a really hard and expensive thing to recover from. So, and put in that investment up front. Protect your company, protect your data, protect your employees.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that was the first resource. The next one is just 4 tips to keep offsite workers productive. It just is from a little bit different of an angle, similar information, but different angle. So this is just some data. So 34% of all employees believe they're most productive working outside of the office. I can attest to that. And sometimes it's nice that it is quiet at home. I don't have all of the office around me chatting all day, or people walking by my desk just wanting to talk during their break when maybe it's not my break yet. And so I'm able to just focus and get my work done and not be stopped by people walking by.
Yeah.
52% work outside of a traditional office at least once a week. 28% say they get more work done while remote due to reduced commute. And so you don't have that 30-minute drive that you can then use to sleep or have breakfast, anything like that. And they have that time to use in their day to do work instead of just sitting in a car driving. So those are just some stats to start us off with. But these 4 tips were extensive connectivity, so kind of like we just discussed, making sure you have wireless technology so that you can connect safely. Advanced security, they need security that works with their workflow instead of against it. So like we said, making sure what you have is protected. Smarter meetings, seamless technology is key to collaborate with on-site employees. So it's really difficult if you and I were trying to have this conversation right now, but it kept dropping and or cutting out, and we weren't able to just continue our conversation, but we kept having to stop and restart. That's really important to make sure that meetings you're able to actually communicate without difficulties.
Yeah, and then question, Amy, as a small business owner or one of our members, tax pros, how would they get started understanding if they have the right tech or if their employees have the right tech at home? What would it be through the Dell Small Business Advisors? Do they provide some of that guidance and walkthrough?
Yes, absolutely. You can feel free to email me and I can get you in contact with the small business advisor, or call that 800 number. I'll go back to that slide in a second. But if you are having issues like that, feel free to give us a call and we can walk through what's going on with your setup to see what pinpoint what the problem is and help you resolve that.
Cool.
To help you with that. Definitely. And then last thing that they recommend is mobility. And so if, especially in a time as now when we're going from, office to home, or, once things start opening back up, people might go to work in a coffee shop. It's important to have thin and light PCs, because then it's easier to move around and travel and go from place to place without having, a desktop where you can only work in the office, or a really big clunky laptop that is too heavy to carry around. So those are just a few tips.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back while we finish discussing. I'll put this information back up. But do you have any questions, Antonio, that I could help answer around all of this? I just wanted to kind of follow up our previous conversations of, what to do once you have the work from home setup, how you can use that to grow your business.
Yeah. There is a question coming in that says, are old laptops not as secure as new laptops? I know that's a general question, but just because the technology is old, it doesn't mean it's not secure. Or what's your experience on that? Yeah.
I would say it's a case-to-case question. Not necessarily, but that it's less secure just because it's old. It would depend on how old. If it is 10 plus years old, then yes, it's going to be less secure because it's not going to be able to connect to the updated Wi-Fi and, security measures that you should be taking. If it is, we recommend refreshing every 3 years, but if it's 3 to 5 years old, I would say it's still secure. What mostly affects that is not how old the system is, but the quality of your Wi-Fi and your antivirus. Putting antivirus on your system is a software download that is going to protect people from getting in, and you can do that from every endpoint. So if you have a server, you can put a router there to protect data going to your server. You have antivirus on your laptop to protect it coming into your laptop as well.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good topic we should consider for next month or in the near future. And we could even bring Omar from our team in the conversation. Is what's the best antivirus for my office or
absolutely.
computer? Because how do you guys at Dell work with that? Do you guys have different solutions? Do you guys have your own antivirus, or do you guys have different partners or solutions?
We do. We most recommend McAfee. We partner with a few different antivirus, but that is our recommended one. You can get 1 or 3 year with us. To put on your system, and we just have found that they are the most secure and the best, and so that's what we most recommend is McAfee.
Got it. I've heard of
and we sell that, and so you can buy it with your system if you get a new system, or you can buy it separately to put on your current computer.
Oh, got it. Okay, so you guys also, and that's like something I wanted to bring up, because a lot of the times we experience this with our members is, yeah, that's cool, you guys have that, but can I just call somebody? Could somebody help me? So by calling the small business advisors, they could walk you through the antivirus and how to install it, or if yours is a good one. And I'm sure there's different, is there like ways to test your current antivirus, like where you could go and see if it's even catching viruses? That? Oh.
Yes, yeah, and just also making sure that your subscription didn't expire. Antivirus is typically purchased by year, and we often forget that, it's been over a year, I need to buy it again or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and especially maybe it doesn't auto renew or or something, and then things could get through. Yeah, I like that topic actually, because that comes up from time to time. And us as an organization, like most of our content is tax updates, tax education, but we need to remember that, hey, these guys are business owners. These guys have technology, computers, and whenever we do kind of cover those how to run your business topics, if that's a good name for these, we get a lot of engagement and traction from it. So I like it. Could you show one last time? I got a question here. What is that deal you guys are having?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, please, Amy. That way we could be aware of that. So yeah, so if you are looking for some tech and to get the update your systems, remember our partnership with Dell Technologies allows you to save and get some. So this is 10% off. You said in addition to another discount, or what was that you said?
This is 10% off of Dell.com. So on Dell.com, you'll see a price that you can get, but you can, as a Latino Tax Pro member, you can get 10% off of that price.
Got it. Ooh. Okay, nice, perfect. That's exactly, I think, what they're asking. That works, Amy. Thank you so much for your time today, your tips. We'll go ahead and share them with the rest of our members. If anybody listening, if you have any additional questions, please let us know. Again, the partnership with Dell Technologies is to have a resource when it comes to technology, antivirus systems, computers, laptops. So we want to navigate and help you navigate, I guess, through all those needs. But awesome.
Absolutely. We're here to help.
Thanks, Amy. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, you too. Have a good day.